Hey YouTube, just a quick video here about dividing your stack into two categories. Um, I recently kind of went through this process where I went through my entire stack and I tried to split it into two categories. One category being things that I wasn't emotionally attached to, things that I could sell for spot and I wouldn't lose any sleep over it. And the other category was things that were had maybe some semi-numismatic value, or things that had some emotional value, things that I just really liked. And it was kind of an interesting experiment to do because it really let me see how attached I'd become to some of it. So it was good to kind of go through that and figure out what stuff, if I had to sell tomorrow, what stuff would I have an easy time selling and what stuff would I have a hard time selling. And I really tried to, of my stack, I have about 725 ounces right now. I wanted to get down where I had less than 100 ounces of stuff that was stuff that I really wanted to keep. So just a few examples here. This is the kind of stuff over here that I don't care about. It'll be easy for me to sell. These are a couple seasonal rounds. I paid melt for each of these, and they're things that I'll have no issue selling. Over here, this is some of the stuff that's more stuff that I'm into that I collect. This is the 5-ounce Swiss of America and the 2.5 ounce Swiss of America round. And each of these, if I were to take them into my local coin shop, I'd get spot for them, which I would have a hard time selling it for that because I know it's worth a lot more. So, plus I just think they're cool. So what I did when I ended up splitting up my stack, I had a lot more than 100 ounces of stuff that was either semi-numismatic or stuff that I really liked. So I've been going through the process of taking some of that stuff that's semi-numismatic, and I've slowly been listing it on eBay and selling it in order to buy more. I had a half a tube of Lunar Goat coins, for example, that I knew if I took into my LCS I'd get spot for, or maybe a little bit over spot, but I wasn't going to get what they were worth. So I've slowly been selling them on eBay, and for every 2 of those I sell, I can basically buy 3 ounces of generic, because I'm able to sell those Lunar Goat coins for over 30 bucks. So anyway, just it's almost a 2-to-1 ratio, in fact. But I can conservatively, if I sell 2, I could conservatively buy 3 ounces of silver. So I've been trying to get rid of some of that stuff now, and just trying to add more ounces to the stack. That way, if and when the time comes and I decide I'm going to sell, I don't have to worry about losing money on some of my semi-numismatics. That's kind of the stuff that was keeping me up at night, was worrying about, I'm going to lose money on these when I go to sell them, because I paid a decent premium for them and I'm not going to get that back when I sell to my LCS. And yes, I'll get it back if I sell on eBay, but not with my LCS. So I just have been slowly kind of trying to liquidate that and get my stack of stuff that is truly important to me personally down to a small number, manageable number that's less than 100. So and then I can kind of think about my stack in 2 ways. I can think of it, let's say hypothetically, of my 725 ounces, let's use 100 because it's a round number. Let's say 100 of those ounces are things that I don't want to sell for spot, things that maybe would be legacy pieces I'd pass on to my kids or whatever, or if I sold, to be the last things that I sold. And then I'd have 625 over here of stuff like this that I don't have any issues selling for spot. And you definitely want to have a lot more of that category than you do of the category that you're attached to, because when the time comes to sell, you don't want to have that wrestling match with yourself. And honestly, if the price of silver were to skyrocket, I'd sell everything. If the price was right. But if I had to sell because some silver because we had car trouble or one of us lost our job or something, I wanted everything split so that I didn't have to go through it at that time, and wade through all this stuff that I'm attached to versus this stuff. So I've successfully recently split my stack into 2 categories, 2 separate storage containers. One is just for my bullion, the stuff that I don't care about making money on. I just, whenever the time comes, I'll be happy to sell it for spot. Stuff that I'm not attached to, and that again I think should be the majority of your stack. And then I've also got a separate container that's the stuff that's kind of the fun stuff that I'm into. Maybe it's got a little bit more semi-numismatic value. Maybe some of it's just emotional value. I've got some stuff in there that was given to me by my grandpa or by my brother and that kind of stuff. So I'd encourage you to think about maybe splitting your stacks into two categories and just see how much you have that you wouldn't really want to part with. And I think if you can get that step done, and then the day comes, let's say that tomorrow silver makes a big, huge jump, I'd have this stuff ready. I could quickly take it and go to my LCS and make some money on it, and I wouldn't have to go through everything and decide at that moment what I wanted to keep and what I didn't, if you've already done that. And then as I go forward, when I buy stuff, I'll just decide where to put it. Will it go into bullion, or will it go into the stuff that maybe is legacy pieces that I'll keep for a while? So anyway, guys, just kind of my thoughts on why I think it's smart to kind of split your stack. And if you haven't done it, or if you haven't looked at your silver stack that way, I'd encourage you to do it, because I think it's a good exercise, and it opened my eyes a little bit. I realized I'd been collecting more lately than I'd been just buying the cheap stuff. And so I'm going to kind of hopefully get back to just grabbing more of the cheap stuff. I mean, if I find cool stuff, I'll probably still buy it, but just trying to focus on getting more of the cheap stuff and adding to that stack, as opposed to adding a bunch to the stack of stuff that I'm attached to. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Take care. God bless.